Good morning, welcome. For today's practice, all you'll need is really a blanket or something to sit on. If you have yoga blocks, that can be helpful. If you don't, a chair or a stool nearby could be helpful. You could even, for what we're going to be using this, the prop, you could even use a table. It doesn't have to be super close to the ground. So you can move yourself around in the space to find a supportive place for you. Yoga blocks are great, but you don't have to have them. So let's begin. You can come down onto your back. I'm going to start seated. I'm going to share a reading. So you can take a moment to maybe shift your body around. Just find a little bit of movement as you are settling in. If you're on your back, you could hug your knees in towards your chest and rock a little bit. Or maybe you take a big full body stretch. Any little movements of your neck, your shoulders, your head, hands, feet. Allowing yourself to just get kind of acquainted with your body this morning, and move our energy out of our mind, our mental energy, our mental space down into our sensing and feeling body. And then as you feel ready to, you can just begin to find some stillness. Eyes might close or just a soft gaze. And you might bring your attention to your breath, particularly noticing your breath in your belly. It might help to rest a hand or both hands on your belly to sense that movement. And just gently feeling this rising and falling. You might slow down the breath a little bit. Just continuing to just attend to your breath for this next couple of minutes. Allowing the rest of your day, any worries, any concerns, seeing if you can let go of those things just for now, as you keep bringing your attention back to your breath, attending to this simple rising and falling. I'm going to share a poem this morning. This is The Word by Tony Hoagland. Down near the bottom of the crossed out list of things you have to do today, between green thread and broccoli, you find that you have penciled sunlight. Resting on the page, the word is beautiful. It touches you as if you had a friend, and sunlight were a present he had sent you from someplace distant as this morning to cheer you up and to remind you that among your duties, pleasure is also a thing that needs accomplishing. Do you remember that time and light are kinds of love, and love is no less practical than a coffee grinder or a safe spare tire? Tomorrow, you may be utterly without a clue, but today you get a telegram from the heart in exile proclaiming that the kingdom still exists the king and queen alive, still speaking to their children, to anyone among them who can find the time to sit out in the sun and listen. So as you continue to attend to your breath, you might begin to briefly scan through your body, just touching in lightly, noticing different parts of your body and what you're experiencing. And sometimes when we bring our attention to our body, to our physical sensations, we automatically go to what feels uncomfortable or tight, or where there's pain, perhaps little areas that we have accumulated tension, our shoulders, our neck, our back. But my invitation to you this morning is not to necessarily not to push aside those areas of tension or discomfort. You can allow them to be there, but see if you can seek out a place in your body that feels at ease or comfortable. Maybe it's an area that feels good, that feels spacious or open. Perhaps it's even simply the absence of pain or tension or discomfort. And if you can't really find a place that feels good or soft or spacious or pleasant, then perhaps even just finding a place that feels neutral. So neither pleasant nor unpleasant, but just neutral. And in our practice today, I'm going to invite you to keep attending to those areas of the body that feel good. Again, not to force aside or push aside what doesn't. It's not a problem that there's tension in certain areas. It's not a problem that there's maybe some discomfort in your body, but for today, just seeing if you can attend to those places of ease. And then starting to find a little bit of movement, maybe some wiggling of your fingers and toes, perhaps a circling of your wrists and ankles, maybe a long, full body stretch, arms and legs reaching away from one another. Maybe taking the next 20 or 30 seconds to just move in any way that feels natural and easy and good, any way that feels pleasant. Then you could start to draw your knees in, bringing them closer in towards your chest. Hands can come around your knees or your shins or the backs of your thighs, maybe rocking gently side to side, giving a gentle massage of your lower back. And you could move the knees forward and back as well, knees extending out and then drawing in closer to the body. Maybe even a circle, drawing a circle with your knees, circling around your sacrum, and then circling the other direction as well. And then bringing knees back to center. As you inhale, let's lengthen your legs up towards the ceiling. Arms might reach up as well, reaching up through your fingertips. And then exhale, bend your knees and soften in. Hands come to your legs. And inhale, stretching and reaching. Maybe arms come up overhead beside your ears. And then exhale, softening in. Do this a few times. It's okay if your legs don't straighten all the way, if there's a little bend in your knees as you stretch them up, that's fine. Just starting to acquaint yourself with the sensation of an opening through the backs of your legs. Might feel that might be a pleasant experience, a pleasant sensation. Just feeling that little gentle stretch. If you find yourself as you're moving today, moving into areas of discomfort or pain, maybe remind yourself, oh, I'm going to attend to pleasure today. I'm going to attend to what feels good. Maybe backing off of those places that feel painful. And then releasing your feet back down to the ground, arms coming down all the way down to the ground beside your hips. We'll start to lift and lower our spine a few times. So pressing firmly into the ground with your feet, tucking your tail, lifting your hips, maybe just coming up a few inches to begin, and then slowly rolling down through your spine, releasing your hips. So you can do this a few times, keeping the movement small. You can also start to rise up a little bit higher each time if you'd like. You could also start to include some movement of the arms coming up and over towards the floor above your head, and then slowly lowering down, coordinating your breath and your movement. Maybe one or two more cycles through that. And then finishing that up, draw your knees in towards your chest again, hug them in. And then this time, bring your arms down beside your hips so the knees and the feet will stay lifted. And we're going to take just one side of our body moving at a time. So as you inhale, right leg reaches up towards the ceiling, right arm comes up overhead beside your ear. And then exhale, bend your right knee, right arm comes back down. And then left side, inhale, left leg extends up, left arm overhead. Exhale, releasing that down. So just take that slowly, breathing with the movement. Might again, just remind yourself to attend to what feels good, or even just notice what feels good with this movement. And then you can keep doing exactly this if this feels best to you. You can also change it a little bit where you extend your right leg a little forward on a diagonal. Same thing with the arm, comes up overhead again, and then you bring it back in. So this might feel good, bringing a little more heat and energy to your core muscles, belly and back. And if that doesn't feel good, if it feels perhaps like it strains the lower back or just feels like a little too much, you can have it be not quite such a low angle. That's one option, is have the legs still reaching out on an angle, but not quite so low. Or maybe going back to the version where your leg is reaching straight up. So just checking in with yourself, what feels good? Where's there ease? Maybe one more time each side. And then releasing that, you can hug your knees in. And you might take your arms out side to side and let your knees gently come over to the right side. If it feels better, bring your feet to the floor first. So either of those options. And then drawing your knees back to center and over to the left side. You might do that a couple more times each side. And come back to center, hug the knees in one more time, give a little rock. And then feet coming back down to the ground. And let's roll ourselves over gently to one side, start to come up. And we'll come up to hands and knees. You can pad your knees if you'd like, placing a blanket underneath. Got a kitty here to say hello. This is Ash, the kitten, the little one. So coming to hands and knees, she's going to help me with some cat pose. So coming to hands and knees, pausing for a moment. Let's start to move our spine a bit. So inhaling, lifting head and tail, lengthening through the front of our body, and then exhale, pressing down and rounding up through the spine, lifting up into cat stretch. And inhale, lengthening, sternum reaches forward and up, and then exhale, rounding. And a couple more times. See if you can have a sense of breathing into the whole length of your spine. And as you're moving the spine in this way, and the ribs and the belly, your shoulders and hips, where is there a sense of ease? Where is there a sense of pleasure as you're moving? And then coming back to center, back to neutral. Maybe a gentle shifting side to side. You take your weight into one side of the body and then the other. And then coming back to center. So this idea of kind of playing with one half of the body moving. Kitty is about to knock over the camera. All right. So this idea of playing with one half of the body being stable and still, and then the other half of the body moving. So see if you can take your weight into one side of the body, a little shifting, and then the other side just takes a little step forward. And then one side of the body, stable and grounded, and then the other side takes a little step forward. So it's a little crawling. Then you can do it backwards as well. Move your blanket out of the way if you want. You can scoot yourself back on your mat to give yourself a little more room to play with this kind of crawling motion. One side of the body stable and grounded, one side of the body moving. You can do it forward and back. And just notice, what do you sense? What do you feel? And then coming back to neutral, coming back to center. Let's find our way back into child's pose, forehead coming down towards the ground. You could support your head with your hands if you like. You can allow your chest and belly to come down towards your thighs. It's okay if your hips do not touch your heels. There may even be a little more space that you'd like to create, hips elevated a bit more. And then start to walk your hands forward, stretching out long through the sides of your body. Let's walk our hands slightly to the right, over towards the right edge of your mat. Feel your tailbone drawing straight back, expanding your breath through your left side. And then walking hands back to center and over to the left side. Tailbone drawing back. And then walking hands back to center. So let's move a little bit more, getting our energy moving a bit more, coming into a downward dog, or if for you today, half down dog feels better, can do that. So arms stretched forward as you inhale, rise up to hands and knees. Tuck your toes and exhale, downward facing dog. Or if you want to keep your knees on the ground, half down dog. Inhale, lowering knees down. Exhale, coming back into child's pose. Inhale, rise up, hands and knees, tuck your toes. Exhale, down dog or a half dog. Inhale, coming down to knees. Exhale, back into child's pose. So see if you can continue this flow, one breath to one movement. And then the next time we come into down dog or half dog, so half dog being where we just rest on our knees, hands are stretched forward. So next time we come into one of those two poses, I'm going to play with, again, this one half of the body being stable and one half of the body moving. So you can just shift your weight side to side, perhaps. And you might feel your weight shift into your right hand and foot, and then take that left hand and foot and just step it forward a little bit. And then the other side, weight into the left hand and foot, and then the right side steps forward. You can go back. So a little bear crawl. One side of the body stable, one side of the body moving. So if you're taking the half dog version, you might go back to that crawling. So the knee stays down, the knees stay down. And don't have to be too serious about this. Might be just a little bit playful. We're just playing with it. And then eventually you can come back down to your knees and settle back into child's pose. Take a couple of breaths. And then rising up, hands and knees. So here, I'm going to take my weight into my right knee and my right hand and slide that right hand a little forward, spinning fingertips out just a little bit. I'm going to start to come onto that right knee, bringing the toes of my right foot towards the wall behind me. So off of the edge of the mat, left leg is extending long. Hand can be resting on the hip. Maybe left arm extends up towards the ceiling. And here you could even play with lifting left leg if you'd like. If that's too much, keep it down on the ground. But just something to play with. Again, that one side of the body grounded, rooted, other side of the body, finding, exploring a little bit of lift. And then we'll release that down. And then we'll take the other side. So left hand can step a little bit forward of the shoulder, spinning fingertips out slightly. The other toes, left toes, come off the edge of the mat. Right leg is extended long. Can stay with your hand resting on your hip, or maybe extend right arm up. Could play with lifting the right leg or keeping it down. Might lift a little ways. Can you feel that really grounded sense through the left side of the body? And then slowly releasing that down. Come back to child's pose. Maybe wiggling your hips side to side like you're wagging your tail. Maybe taking your weight off of your wrists and giving a few circles. A little shake out. And then we'll come forward, stepping forward towards the front of the mat, stepping one foot forward and then the other, and then coming into just a gentle fold. Let your knees be soft. Arms could drape down towards the ground, or maybe they're hanging. Maybe your hands or your elbows want to rest on the legs. Just taking a moment here, maybe shake out your head gently. Tune back in. Notice what feels good. Is there a movement here that would feel good? Maybe a shifting of your hips side to side. Maybe a deepening of your knee bend, a squat, and then a lengthening. Is there a little bit more movement of your spine that would feel good here? And then start to lift up halfway. Reach forward through the crown of your head. Hands could slide up towards your knees or your thighs. A lengthening. Exhale, soften your knees as you come forward. Now here, lift up again. We're going to reach just the right arm forward. Left hand stays on the left leg. And then exhale, soften that. And then inhale, left arm reaches forward and up. Exhale, soften. Inhale, right arm. Exhale, fold. Inhale, left side. And exhale. Now we'll come all the way up to standing. Let's sweep arms out and up as you press down into the ground to rise up, reach up, lengthen, and then exhale, releasing arms down. Take a couple of big shoulder rolls, rolling shoulders back and down, maybe from back to front, maybe one shoulder rolling at a time. And you can take a moment to move in any way that feels good. Maybe just tuning in, forgetting what anybody else is doing. It's one of the advantages of being here on the screen, right? That we get to just do whatever we want in our own spaces. So maybe a little bit of just intuitive movement, be a shifting of your hips, your shoulders, maybe sweeping the arms. And then coming into a place of stillness, finding your way there. A deep sigh as you exhale. And then inhale, sweep arms out and up, reaching. Exhale and dive forward, softening forward. Now here we'll inhale halfway up, reach the right arm forward, and then exhale down. Inhale, left arm sweeps forward, and then down, and then sweep all the way up to standing. Sweep out and up, and let your arms rest down by your sides. Exhale. Inhale, sweep up, and then exhale, dive forward. Right hand slides forward and up. Exhale, soften down. Left arm forward. Exhale, sweep all the way up to standing. Inhale, and let arms float down the sides. One more time. Inhale. Exhale, dive. Right arm forward and up. Exhale, down. Left arm. Sweep up to stand. And exhale. Letting arms float down. Again, another big shrug of your shoulders back and down a couple of times. Then shake it out. Maybe shake out the legs as well. And here we'll step towards the front of our mat, front of our yoga space. Let your knees soften a little bit here. So a little bend of the knees. softening into your joints, feeling this sense of grounding, and then allowing your weight to shift into the right side. Right foot, left side reaches back. You can bring your foot to the ground, heel coming all the way down to the floor. You can find the width of the legs that feels good for you. Maybe widen your stance outside to side so that the hips and the feet are a little more in the same plane. So here, you might just move around a little bit. How does it feel when you bend your front knee? Does the back heel stay rooted down, or does it lift up? Maybe that's a sign that that back foot needs to come a little bit closer forward. So finding what feels good for you. Release your arms down, give them a little shake, soften out your shoulders. And then I'm gonna let my left hand just slightly rest on my left thigh. And again, this left side is gonna stay strong, stable, rooted, and I'm gonna find the movement through the right side. So inhale, right arm comes forward as the right knee bends. And then exhale, shifting back. Inhale, come forward and up. And exhale back. Inhale. Exhale back. And inhale one more time and stay. And then just check in with yourself. Can you tune into a part of the body that feels good here? Maybe a part of the body that feels spacious or open, or maybe even a part of the body that feels strong. That could be a sensation that's particularly pleasant. And if there's discomfort, if there's pain, maybe backing off a bit, maybe tipping the torso forward if there's discomfort in the lower back. And then releasing that, step forward, big push off of the back leg. Maybe a little walk it out, shifting your hips here. And then again, little softening down into the joints. Shift into your left foot. Feel really grounded through this left side as the right foot steps back, lowering your heel and adjusting the distance between the feet. You can bend and straighten the front leg. Where is the alignment for you that actually feels good? So there's certain alignment cues that we kind of can share or explore, but can you use your own internal sensing of your body and space? Can you find a place that feels at ease, that feels stable, but also feels at ease? So here, I'm gonna let my right hand rest down on my right thigh. We'll move just the left side. Inhale, left arm and leg moving, and then exhale back. Inhaling and exhale back. Moving in and out of this several times. Can you tune into the pleasure of moving? Places where you feel strong and stable, and the places where you feel open and spacious. And then this next time, come forward and up and stay. You can adjust or shift to find that place that feels at ease. You feel the stability of the shape of your body here. But then can you also find the softness, the ease? And then releasing out and step forward. Just walk it out a little, shift your hips. And then we'll step our feet wide apart. So turning towards the side, the long edge of the mat. So stepping feet wide apart. I'm gonna rotate my right toes to face the right side. Left toes come in a little bit. I get to look out at my snowy backyard through this window. So here, I'm just going to bend and straighten my right knee a few times. And just notice that simple movement. There could be some experience of strength here as you're moving through the leg. There might be some kind of experience, wow, that opening, that stretch through my inner thigh actually feels really good. So can you find those little kind of proprioceptive experiences of pleasure as you move? So here, straightening the front leg, let's sweep arms out and up. Inhale, reaching, and then exhale, opening. Warrior two, Virabhadrasana. Inhale, reaching up, lengthening front leg. Exhale and open. Inhale, rise. Exhale. Inhale, lifting. And exhale, stay. And right here, can you tune into the feeling of strength and stability and how that feels good? And you find the places of spaciousness and ease. Notice how that feels good. And if you don't feel stability and you don't feel ease, maybe adjusting the body, maybe backing off a little bit, maybe going a little deeper. So finding the place that for you, there you can tap into, you can touch into just the pleasure of being right here, of moving your body, of breathing deeply, and then releasing and taking that to the other side. So left toes turning towards the left side, right toes coming in just a bit, and start by bending and straightening your left knee a few times. And this is really just to get the fluids moving through our joints, get our blood flowing, get our joints ready to be in a more stable and held position. And then coming up, inhale, both arms sweeping up. Exhale, opening, Virabhadrasana. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, opening. Inhale, rising. Exhale. You can take this a few more cycles, tuning in. What is the interoceptive internal experience that you're having in your body? What can you sense and feel? And then one of these times coming into your warrior two and pausing. You feel your breath moving through the posture. And you find the places of stability and strength. Where can there be perhaps a bit more ease brought into the shape of your body here? And then releasing and turning toes. Step your feet together here for a moment. We'll take a couple of shoulder rolls again. Maybe a gentle shake out of arms and legs. And then here's where you may want to have, if you have yoga blocks, having them on either edge of your mat or the space that you're in, or if you don't have yoga blocks, moving yourself to a space where you can easily put your fingertips on the edge of a chair or a stool, maybe even a desk. So we'll step our feet wide apart again. So same setup as our warrior two, Virabhadrasana. Right toes turning towards the right side. Coming into warrior two. And then taking left hand, you can rest left hand on your hip. Start to reach far with your right hand. And then we can step our back foot a little closer in, start to bring our right fingertips down to your prop or whatever's handy. And you might start to just play with the weight coming a little more fully into that right leg. What does that feel like? That stability, that strength through the right side of the body. And then if you'd like to, you can play with the left leg lifting. You're finding a sense of openness and spaciousness through the left side as that right side is stable and strong. You can always back off if you need to put your toes back on the ground. You can try a couple of times, lifting and lowering. We're staying there. Maybe left arm extends up. Maybe it doesn't. Again, just remember the floor is right there for you. And then starting to come back and let's step our feet together here for a moment, maybe give a shake out. And I have to say, when I was first practicing yoga, asana, half moon pose, the pose that we just were doing, was one of my very most hated poses. It's a lot, there's a lot going on, right? There's a lot of strength required in the standing leg. There's a lot of opening, stretch through the inner thigh of both legs, really. There's a lot going on there. So if it doesn't feel good right now, that's okay. You move towards your edge of, okay, I feel stable right here. I feel okay. I feel some sense of ease. And maybe that's not with the leg lifted, maybe the toes stay on the ground. And over time, those edges might adjust. Now it's one of my favorite poses. So we step our feet wide apart again, turning left toes towards the side. You can come into your warrior two. Maybe right hand to the right hip, reaching through the left hand, starting to bring your fingertips down to a prop. That could be your block. It could be the edge of a chair. I'll use that for this side. And then you start to lift up, perhaps. Right leg lifting, maybe, maybe not. You can always come back to toes on the ground. And can you find those edges of, okay, right here, I feel at ease. Right here, I feel stable. Right here, I feel a sense of spaciousness. And if you're feeling constricted and tight and closed off in the body, maybe backing off, maybe finding a place that feels a little more sense of ease. You come in and out a couple of times. And I'll fall over into the wall. You might too. And coming back. And then stepping feet together. And shake it out. Shoulder roll. And then we'll start to come down towards the ground again. So inhaling, sweeping up. Exhale to dive forward. Could step back into downward dog if you'd like. Maybe coming to hands and knees. You might play with this sense of one half of the body stable, the other side mobile. Maybe this little bear crawl, either from down dog or from hands and knees. And then finding your way back to child's pose. Couple of deep breaths, settling here. And coming back up to hands and knees. Let's find our cat-cow flow again. So lifting head and tail, and then exhaling round. And take this a few times and One thing I notice as I'm moving through my cat-cow is there's a bit more ease than the first time I was doing this today. There's a little more space. I feel like I'm finding my spine feels a little more open. So you might notice something similar or not. There might be that little bit of just feeling good through this movement that you can tune into. And then coming back to neutral, and we'll shift to our back. So coming down, easing down onto your back. Once you come down, take 20 or 30 seconds to move in whatever way feels good to you. It doesn't have to look like a yoga pose that you've done before. And you can bring your feet to the floor once again, arms down by your sides, rooting down, knees bent, feet parallel to one another. And then starting to lift, tucking your tail, lifting your hips, maybe your arms come up with the movement as well, up overhead, and then exhaling, slowly lowering. And then again, inhaling, rising up, and exhale. A couple more times through that. And then one of these times you might come up and stay at the top here for a few breaths, a couple of full inhales, feeling the breath expanding through the front of your body from your knees all the way to your chest. And then leaving your arms up, leaving your arms where they are. Start to slowly roll down through your spine. Take this really slowly, like you're trying to meet one vertebra on the ground at a time. Feeling a little bit like you're getting a little traction for your spine as you move. And then once you come all the way down, then releasing arms as well. And hug your knees in towards your chest. Give a little rock. Leaving the knees up, bring your arms down by your sides again. As you inhale, right arm and right leg reach. So right foot can reach up towards the ceiling, right arm overhead. Exhale, release that. Left side, left arm and leg moving. And then release. So moving through this several times, you're welcome to keep the leg lifting straight up towards the ceiling, or if you want to go back to that kind of reaching on a diagonal, you're also welcome to do that. And you could check in what actually feels better. Where does my body feel good? And sometimes of moving into places that challenge us a little bit, that we have to tune into our strength. Sometimes that is what feels good. Maybe backing off, sometimes backing off from that place, finding a bit more ease. And can you find in any movement that you do both a sense of stability, but then also a sense of spaciousness? And then finishing that up, bringing the knees in. Let's bring feet back down to the ground. Widen your feet, widen your stance. Arms can come out to the sides. Let's let knees fall over to the right side. As you do that, take your gaze to the left. And the knees back up to center. And then over to the left as your gaze reaches to the right. You can go side to side a few times. Find some ease through your hips and your lower back, and your rib cage. And then one of these times, knees can come to the right side and stay. And maybe that feels best. Or maybe it feels good to let the feet lift off of the ground as well and letting the knees come over. So different options of a twist here. And then drawing knees back up to center and over to the other side. So feet could stay on the ground, knees falling to the left, or you can draw your knees in, feet lift away from the floor, and coming into a different version of a twist. And then gently release that, bringing knees back up to center, making any adjustments you'd like to, maybe taking, again, another big stretch or a wiggle or a shift, anything that just feels good in your body right now. And then as you feel ready to, you can begin to settle in for your Shavasana, your resting pose, your final relaxation, using whatever props you'd like to support your body, reclined or perhaps in your favorite restorative pose. So taking this next couple minutes to allow yourself to settle, finding a place where you feel, again, at ease. Make sure you're warm enough. Allowing yourself to attend to your comfort, attend to sense of ease in your body, attend to pleasure. So maybe again, just tuning into an area of the body that feels spacious or at ease or soft. And just allowing your breath to rise and fall gently. You are welcome to stay right where you are for as long as you'd like. If you feel ready to, you can start to find a little bit of movement coming back into your body, a deepening breath, and gently rolling yourself to one side. You might pause right there and just notice what feels good. And then gently finding your way back up to a seat if you'd like. Down near the bottom of the crossed out list of things you have to do today, between green thread and broccoli, you find that you have penciled sunlight. Resting on the page, the word is beautiful. It touches you as if you had a friend and sunlight were a present he had sent you from some place distant as this morning to cheer you up and to remind you that among your duties, pleasure is a thing that also needs accomplishing. Do you remember that time and light are kinds of love, and love is no less practical than a coffee grinder or a safe spare tire? Tomorrow, you may be utterly without a clue, but today you get a telegram from the heart in exile, proclaiming that the kingdom still exists, the king and queen alive, still speaking to their children, to anyone among them who can find the time to sit out in the sun and listen. So if you'd like, you could bring palms together in a gesture of honoring yourself and your practice today, honoring each other, this community that we practice with, and honoring the teachings and teachers of yoga and mindfulness that have come before us. And taking a deep, full breath in and a deep releasing breath out. Thank you for your practice today.